Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And a special offer to ImmaLetYouFinish listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetu. That's betterhelp.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetu. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
Like crabs on a college campus, we're back. We are back.
Okay, I have a lozenge in my mouth. I'm a fucking choke. And if I choke, there's no one here to get. I don't think the cats know the Heimlich. Cats, you know the Heimlich maneuver? Meow, meow, we do not.
Exactly. What's up, everybody? It's I'ma Let You Finish, show number 109 on the Pantheon Podcast Network, the number one music podcast network in the world. FYI. In the world. So they have a bunch of smart music people and us.
We're people.
We're people, but it's always like,
we're smart enough.
Should we be around these classy people? Because we want to, you know.
I don't know. This show's about strip clubs. I think we're just as classy as they are.
We try to talk about where you get the best. We do have that. The Fear show was playing in the strip clubs. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that Danny? That's Danny's show, right? I believe Danny does that show.
I mean, I still feel that as someone who stocked the jukebox at the Baby Doll Lounge, I should get a shout out on that show.
And I still feel as someone who worked at a record label who knows.
That's right.
Especially on the urban side, back when the department said urban side, there was always the list in promotion, the strip club list, and you serviced all of those strip clubs. You had those records that broke out from the fucking strip club. Like, I think that's what's kind of missing in today's music. Nothing breaks out from the club anymore. Nothing breaks out from the strip club.
Nobody goes to clubs.
And you know what I mean? And it's really, they do, but it's so different. Like sometimes it just all feels different.
I've just been having an increasing these kids today year. So
but I gotta say, there's still, because I talk to some young people. I know some young people. Are some who really are not listening to the radio shit. And I love the artists that they turn me on to and the energy.
I love the idea. I always have this image of you sitting there like a griot with young people gathered around your feet going, tell us, Courtney, tell us about the old days where there were marketing campaigns.
Here's the interesting thing, because, I do have a bunch of young people in my life. I have, godchildren, younger cousins, but I also have friends who have godchildren who I see socially, because we'll be out and they come and they have dinner with us and I have conversations with them. What are you listening to? How does this affect you? All of this. And I love it though, because it really is interesting, their sort of process, and some of them and how they're looking at music, different to how we did it, but the core of it is the same. You know what I mean? It's just how it's delivered is different. And we were so marketed to that it's like, at this point, they're not really used to being marketed to in that same way when it comes.
They're getting marketed too. They just don't
Yes.
know it.
Well, they are. No, I mean, but in music, with some of the artists
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. No, everybody's being marketed to now. Everything is marketed. I just mean the way they're finding artists, the artists who they love versus, when it would be, say, the NSYNC era and the Justin era, those records, or Janet and Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, when they came, especially in their heyday, it was so big you could not escape them. There was full plans. You're on TV, you're here, you're on billboards, you're on buses, you're on the radio, you're on MTV.
All right, we sound very old.
No, but it's good. I'm not, because I'm just saying I speak to them, and it really does turn me on to a lot of artists, people I never would look at, music channels I would never look at, and online radio shit I'd never look at. And it's been like this summer, I've been listening and looking at a lot of different shit. So it's just been interesting. Different, but
I had a student today who had Drake as his avatar on Zoom, and I told him if he didn't take it down, I was going to fail him.
That's actually a perfect response to that. I still don't get him.
No, I don't either.
I need somebody to explain to me why he's great.
It's no. And they don't even know why he's great.
And I know this is always controversial when I say it. And people always stop me and they're like, I can't believe. I need somebody to explain to me why everybody thinks Frank Ocean is the best.
I can explain that to you, but I don't want to do it right now.
Because it's just like,
I can explain it to you.
Do I think he's talented? Sure.
Those first two albums. And there we go. Anyway, those first two albums, can't touch them. Really great albums. Really, really great albums. And, that's all he needs. That's all you need in this world is 2 albums and you're good, in the... No, I mean, he's already considered like over by, I'm sure most of these kids.
No, he's not. They're just, they wait for another record.
I would love to hear him. If he could come back with a great record, I would be very, very happy to hear it.
Listen, I want a definitive statement from him.
I don't want a definitive. Why do you need a definitive statement? He's a pop star.
No, because every artist that gets that kind of acclaim has that album that is really a definitive statement, and it makes
Channel Orange was that.
That was fine. No, that was fine.
All right. It was Courtney. You want a definitive statement from a generation that can't fucking read? Come on, that's our generation. There's not going to be a definitive statement from any artist at this point.
I don't believe
it really
that.
is.
I don't believe it.
Not me. I don't think so. A really good record, yeah. A definitive. What's the statement? I don't know.
Listen,
I don't think.
I can go through lists of different artists, and they have an album that's like that definitive statement in their career. Really understood who they fucking were by that whole.
Well, then I would say Channel Orange is his definitive statement so far. I would say that it's the album he came out. That's a pretty definitive statement for a black man in pop music.
I'll give that.
Maybe that's about as definitive as you can get.
Before I even argue that, but I probably should go back and re-listen to that record because I've not listened to that album in years. You know what I mean? So I'm going off a partial memory. Like, I told you I loved was it the Nostalgia Ultra? Nostalgia Ultra. I love that.
Love that.
I really love that.
I loved it so much that when I found out that Strawberry Swing, boy, we really haven't done an intro for this show yet, have we? I loved it so much. We did already.
I did that part.
I know. No. Saying that we're whatever. I loved it so much that when I found out that Strawberry Swing was a Coldplay song, I actually didn't mind. That's how much I love that album because
Yeah, so maybe I need to go back and listen to Channel Orange again.
It's a good album.
You know what I mean? And then come back around on that.
Yeah.
Because I do like him as a songwriter. I will always give him that. I really like him as a songwriter. I do.
He was a good songwriter.
I do. So anyway, how was your August? We haven't really chatted. You've been doing your thing. I've been doing my things.
My thing consisted of seeing friends and falling down 3 flights of steps and giving myself not 3 flights of steps. That sounds really frightening. 3 flights of steps, I would be like in a body count.
I'd be like,
that's a lot. That's a lot. 3 flights of steps is a lot. I made a definitive statement by falling down 3 steps and having a concussion for a week and a half. So that was fun. But I gotta. Some people, that's the way I like to roll. I like to walk around with a constant headache.
But at least you could go if you smoked, you could go to the weed truck that's literally around the corner. It's actually around the corner from your house.
I know, it's crazy. And I know the guy that runs it.
Mine is up the street. It's on Linux
well, this place has merch. I know. It's very
no, the kids are coming with full business.
I guess. Just like, well, I know the guy this guy who runs it is has a record, and I guess that's what they're. He's not licensed. None of these things have licenses yet, but nobody gives a fuck. Obviously,
they're like, I'll pay the fines. Like, listen, I need this. Listen, who's mad?
It's fine with me.
New York. Get it where you can get it.
It's fine with me. I don't care. I mean, the whole street smells like weed anyway. It's like, what the hell? It's shocking to me. All right, so it's U.S. Open time in New York City, in Queens,
which is always a very
the land of our births.
I was born in Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. I was born in
Queens.
I was born in Brooklyn, and then we moved to Queens right before I was in the first.
Okay, I was born in Queens.
I did kindergarten, all that stuff.
All right.
Listen. The legendary Serena Williams is retired. I think they sent her out like a queen. It was great. She got to the third round. We love her. Frances Tiafoe beat Nadal the other night, which was amazing. And I love Nadal.
But I'm glad she's an American. I'm glad she's
you know what I mean? A young American man. It's like, come on. And I love that he's black. I love his story that his parents, both immigrated from Sierra Leone, not together.
I figured he had to be like Francophone.
Not together. They both came from Sierra Leone. They met.
Not Francophone. I take that back.
Yeah, Francophone. I was about to say wrong.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And then they met, and his father was a maintenance worker at like some Shishi tennis club. They had their kids. At one point, they were like living in like the storage room, I believe.
Oh my God. All right, I take it back. Fuck Nadal.
So, he has like a twin brother, and that's how they started,
oh my goodness,
playing tennis, because his father was a maintenance worker at this club, and he just had something, and now here he is,
Well, now I have somebody even more. I mean, if he beats Nick piece of shitikos, that would make me very happy.
And you know what? I really like Nick Kyrgios. I'm a fan until you gave me some information earlier that just made me feel like, oh.
He's also it's like, come on, man. Really? Like, you can smell somebody smoking weed in New York City on a loading dock. That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And what did they say? And the guy was like, it's the food from the concession stand. Remember,
the guy on a loading dock.
And he's being sued from, was it the woman at Wimbledon, when he said, because at Wimbledon, he didn't like that. He felt like he was being heckled by a woman in the audience, and they said, "Who?" He said, "The one who looks like she has 700 drinks." They called her drunk, and then
no. He's bad news. He's really bad news.
But I like the bad ones.
No, there's bad boys, and then there's like assholes. A bad boy is like, we all like a bad boy. This guy's he's just an asshole. Then he's playing in New York, and then he insults the entire city of New York. The entire city? How could people live here? It's disgusting.
And I love how he says that. And here's the thing. I know a lot of, I know a couple of Australians and everything. And I know a lot of people have been to Australia. But I also know everybody I know who's had a rental property or something, they're like, when somebody Australia is trying to rent it, they're like,
oh, yeah.
Party.
They party. They're descended from convicts. They are descended from convicts, for crying out loud. They are. God bless them.
They're like, you got to be careful with the Australians. They're like,
no,
they're really
Mad Max.
And I'm like, really? The Australians? They seem so nice.
Crocodile Dundee.
I'm like, but Kylie Minogue is Australian, and Delta Goodrem.
I wouldn't fuck with Kylie Minogue. She looks like she could cut a bitch if she wanted to. Are you kidding me?
I think more Danny. Danny looks like she would cut a bitch.
Well, she's bitter because she never had the career.
Everybody who loves Kylie, from punk rockers to
I love
R&B
Kylie
people.
too, but
That's
I'm
what I'm
saying
saying. Yeah.
Kylie looks like she could cut a bitch if she need to. I mean, I'm just saying there's a reason why she's still around. You know, I mean, anyone who can duet with Nick
Cave.
and go out with Michael Hutchins can hold her own. Okay,
This is true. Actually,
hold
this is
her own.
very, very
Don't
true.
let the cute fool you. Do not let the cute fool you. All right, there was an award show a few weeks ago. Who cares? Yeah, okay.
Something with the people on the channel that none of my anyway.
Yeah, they must be right. I will say this though.
Worst
And
working
this is no
experience.
disrespect. This is no disrespect to them because I think they're hilarious. But in 2022, for a channel and a whatever that is geared towards people, teens and people in their early 20s, to bring out Cheech and Chong to introduce the Red Hot Chili Peppers, there's 6 people nobody in the audience has ever heard of.
And let me just say this. All of you young people listening, don't ever take a job you really don't want to do at a company. I'm not a person with regrets. I don't live my life that way. But I will tell you this. The one place I regret ever working for was that spot. Worst experience in my entire professional. One day we should do a show about it, and I'm just gonna.
Oh no, I got Viacom. I was a perma lancer there.
I know. Yeah,
they put me on air, so I can't say anything too negative. Though I did get fired. I got fired repeatedly. It was great.
Right. The one good experience I will say from that place was I got to meet Kylie Minogue.
All right, there you go.
I never thought, and Danny Minogue. I met them both.
All different
right.
Times. And I got to meet, and I met Brian Ferry and got to interview Nick Cave. Boom.
Right, that kind of shit. So for that part, listen, I never thought I would meet Kylie Minogue a day in my life. And when I booked her to do an interview, I was a booker in News and I came, you know me, bitch. I was ready. I'm like, I don't care about being professional. This is Kylie Minogue. I had a stack of my CD covers. I took them all out of the case, a stack. And while she was doing her interview, signed all of them differently. I had them all. She was like, Courtney loves Kylie, big heart. Just the most. And I know you know this because you've met a lot of people like I've met a lot of people. And there's some people who are really great, some people that are not. But she literally was one of the most gracious people I have ever met.
Like she would be a nice
wonderful,
girl.
wonderful, wonderful lady. Love her, love her, love her.
All right. Well, speaking of people who aren't wonderful, where do we begin? I mean,
we're gonna put them all on the list. Jason Aldean and his wife.
All right, her name
Meghan she doesn't even. She's just let's not even give her a name. Just say that lady.
Well, Maren Morris called her Insurrectionist Barbie,
so
and I think that is the best name ever. So basically, this woman, apropos of nothing, okay, she was not even being asked this question. She was not being asked a question about transgender children.
People just like to
apropos out of nothing, doing on one of her beauty influencer podcasts. Whatever, said something about it. And I want to thank I want to thank my mother and father. So when I was going through my tomboy phase, they didn't try to turn me into a boy. I love being a girl. And then he responded, me too. And so Maren Morris and Cassidy Pope, and Maren Morris is like, no fucking joke. She was basically like, called her out, called her all sorts of names, said you're hateful. And then Insurrectionist Barbie, which is what Maren Morris called her, went back at her. But what the upshot of what it was is that Jason Aldean's publicist decided to no longer work with him, and there can be no screaming about cancel culture because he can just go get another publicist.
No one's asking for him to be canceled.
Publicist by the side of the road. But then Tucker Carlson, who is a massive dick, as we all know, said something about Maren Morris calling her some fake make-believe country singer. So now Maren Morris has made t-shirts to raise money for transgender children, and on the shirt it says fake ass country singer, and she's raised over $100K. So yay for her.
Listen, you don't have to like who you don't have to like. Here's the funny thing about shit I don't like. I just don't pay attention to it.
Well, you don't pay attention to
You
it.
have a right to exist. It's not for me. But these people and their hate is full of bullshit. Between that and I need Britney Spears to go someplace and shut up. I understand your family shit. Take it offline. I need Meghan Markle to shut the fuck up, because even me, you know me. You did not give a fuck. My mother
I gave a fuck.
No. I'm going to tell you.
Watch the wedding. I watched the wedding.
You did. You didn't give a fuck. I have a bunch of friends who would tell me from the beginning, like, yeah, there's something about her. I'm not really rocking with that. My mother from the beginning was like, Meghan Markle is a bitch. I'm like, Mom, but you know.
Your mom said that?
I
love your mom.
My mom looked at a little bit of that. And here's the thing that I was like, Mom, that's so rude. And then a friend of mine said to me, no, be clear though. Women see shit in other women. And it's really interesting who your mom, who's a grown lady who's seen a lot, watched the way she was moving. And that was her reaction to that woman. And that's true. And that really made me take pause. And then when I started listening to her podcast, I was like, oh my God, you're really kind of horrible. You're one of those LA girls. It all comes back to you, but it's not even that interesting and good. You don't know how to try to get the shit that you want. The world can't stand you right now. And you keep doing these interviews where you're just stepping in shit. It's like, you don't know how to be smarter at this point. You just don't know how to be smarter.
Right. I mean, I'm not condoning the racism, obviously, but royal family racist. Oh, I'm sorry. And like, rain is wet.
Shock and horror. Really?
Shock and horror. The next thing you'll tell me that bankers are conservative. You know
what I mean? It's like,
so she had a bad experience with them. And the graceful thing to do is she's making more money than God. They want their cake and eat it too. They're railing about
she
the
said
media.
shit like, because neither of us had jobs. It's like, bitch.
Yeah.
Don't. Bitch, come on.
Where she lost me 100 times, but where she really lost me, and I say this as a white woman, when she literally had the cojones to say that she never realized what it was like to be treated as a black woman until she married into the royal family. I'm like, what?
It's just like, what? It's like, why do you even talk? It's like, why do you even talk?
Oh
like,
my
what's
God.
wrong with you? It's insanity.
Insanity.
Maybe Susan Powder, stop the insanity.
Really. And the Britney thing, look, I mean, Britney, I'm not a huge Britney Spears fan as far as her music. I've never thought she was the sharpest knife in the drawer, but that doesn't mean what happened to her with the conservatorship was really horrible.
Absolutely.
But what has happened is instead of leaving, having that taken away from her and enjoying her freedom and starting to build and work on herself and being happy with her new husband who will take her money, I'm sure, in 5 years. But that's fine, her decision. And to start working on her art or doing whatever, she has decided to go on a nonstop grievance, vengeance, angry, nasty. She's destroyed any goodwill she may have had. And when you start social media is the devil. But when you start attacking your minor children on social media.
I hate that. I don't care if your child spoke out in an interview. That is your child. I don't want you to respond. And let me just say this. Everybody knows I love Britney Spears. But can't you get the eye makeup and some better hair extensions? If you're going to do all of this,
she's always
can you at least look pretty while you're doing it?
She's like,
it's like,
it's
really sad. And I'm like, I don't like seeing this play out.
Well, I think this is who she is.
Right.
And I'm not, and again, what happened to her was absolutely horrible. And it should never happen, but it makes you start to think there must have been some there because clearly this chick is not, she's rich. She's married to a guy. I
also don't expect somebody to come out of a 13-year conservatorship and be okay. But I really wish that, I guess after somebody being controlled for 13 years, nobody's going to say, let me take your phone, don't do this, right? So you have to let them go through the process. And unfortunately, it is happening in front of all of us. And now her children are involved and they're becoming
the children thing is appalling.
It's really just, I don't like it.
The children thing is appalling. I interviewed Kevin Federline once for Double XL. Yeah, listen, let me tell you something.
When he had his rap career?
When he had his rap career. And he was married to
Papa Zoe?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's frightening that you know that. You want a definitive album from Frank Ocean, but yet you're happy to just rattle off Papa's out. But can I just tell you something? He was as nice as pie. He couldn't have been like more kind of chill and nice.
And
what's to be upset about? He didn't have to work back then. She was paying for everything, and she's been paying for everything ever since. He's got a whole new wife, and neither of them work. Britney Spears is cutting checks.
Good for him. I mean, more power to him. We haven't figured out that shit. I mean, goddamn. All right, and another asshole, Win Butler from Arcade Fire, which of course, all the hipsters now are pretending, I never liked Arcade Fire. It's like, yes, you did. Okay.
Right, you did.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with liking Arcade Fire because they're pretty good, actually. He's been accused for just just in general, he's much older than the women that he is accused of having sexual advances with. He has admitted to having affairs outside of his marriage. He has blamed some of this poor behavior, and this is where he totally lost me.
This is where it just turns left.
No, he has blamed some of this transgressions not on the fact that his wife, who is his bandmate, had a miscarriage. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
It's like, so instead of comforting your wife who lost your child,
I'm going to go out and fuck somebody else.
You're like, well, so I had to go fuck because
I had to fuck. No, that's clearly.
Wait, and then evidently use my position of whoever I am to make people, I don't know. It just seems it's so weird. I just don't understand.
Well, it's just, men in power and we always think, men in power, it's not excusable behavior. It's not surprising behavior. The only thing that Pitchfork ran the article. They are on tour now. It doesn't seem to be impacting them tour-wise, but Feist, who was the opening act, who is a fellow Canadian, who sort of came up in the same scene to say that she did 2 shows with them and she has left the tour, saying that she can no longer be seen as being in alliance with them. And good for her. Very few people put their money where their mouth is these days, and she did, because this is a major financial blow for her. This is a bigger blow for her than it would be for them. So good for her for doing that. All right. Do we want to do Chantel? You want to go into it?
Let me just tell you something, guys. I'd be late to certain shit because really, real talk, I watch sports and old Law and Orders because the new ones suck. So, give me an old one. And if I'm seeing a Law and Order, because, USA should just be called the SVU channel because that's all they do is repeat it.
That's all they do is play it.
If they're playing, they have to be playing the Stabler and Benson episodes for me to actually tune in. Because once Chris Maloney left, I was like, this show sucks.
Right.
So I discovered this show that I think is new.
You're the Christopher Columbus of television.
I really am. Later than everybody. I'm like, I discovered this thing. And they're like, what? It's called The Partridge Family. And it's like, bitch, it's 90 years old. I discovered this thing called The Family Chantal. Now, I discovered it last season.
Okay.
I was like, oh, look, she's so cute. He's so cute. Oh, look, they're a couple. And now this season, they hate each other. So when I finally have had the guts to tell people I'm actually watching said show, I learned that it's a derivative of the thing that Amy has been talking about since year 1 of this show, 90 Day Fiancé.
My best friend, Dr. Crossley, the head of the 90 Day Fiancé studies program.
Seriously, because she has definitely sent me messages back like, you have not watched.
No.
Remember when you let me know? She heard me on one show and she read me like,
No.
She was like, you have not watched this show long enough to know that she is horrible. No. I was like, ooh, I got schooled.
No. You don't want to fuck with an old woman like that. You think I'm bad. Wait till she's worse, Mm-hmm. No, so Dr. Crossley wanted me to tell you, because I was a little late to 90 Day Fiancé. I only came in year 2. And I had to really question my friendship with Candace of 47 years when I realized that this show was on and she hadn't told me about it. And I was like, oh my God, we have slept with the same men and yet you cannot tell me about this fucking show. What the fuck? Have you started
watching the UK edition?
No, I will. I told her about that. Yeah. And she almost had a heart attack.
Oh, she didn't. Now, I'm really surprised that she
No. We're very domestic. We're domestic. But anyway, we're USA when it comes to our trash. Okay, anyway.
Did you send her that link?
Yes. She was like, "Oh my God!" No,
when I said it to you,
you're sucked into the abyss now. You're going to rue the day you did this.
It's so horrible because they're horrible. And then with the new one, I'm like, what's her name? Sheeta and Belial. I was like, Sheeta,
Shahida,
run, girl.
yeah,
I was like, don't marry him. And then she married him.
No.
And then there's the ex-wife.
Oh, but you have to watch it Happily Ever After now because, all right. But anyway, back to
Are
Family
they on
Chantel.
Happily Ever After? Have they continued on?
3 weeks later. Yeah, 3 weeks later. It's
not 3 weeks later. Really 3 weeks?
They've been married 3 weeks or something like that. Yeah. All right. But the point, and it's
TLC is brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's the Learning Channel.
Listen, they literally have marketed bullshit TV to us.
No, but it's Courtney.
But it's so
the
addictive.
Learning Channel. It's the Learning Channel. I learned things on this show. No, the Shahida and Shania. Oh, my big thing is I make up names every too. Yeah. So Shania and Shahida. It's about to become Muslim Girls Gone Wild.
I mean, it just seems like
it's going to get ugly. There's going to be hijabs ripped off and earrings pulled out.
I mean, it really feels like we're heading in a direction.
It's getting ugly.
Not good.
It's getting ugly. It's getting really ugly. And, all right, so Chantel. Long story short, Chantel and Pedro started on 98 Day Fiancé. So when all this people she brought him here and she brought him here because they wanted to get married and you have to get a K1 visa and you have to be here for 90 days. Hence the hook of the show. You meet somebody, you come over here, they have 90 days to seal the deal. Okay. So that's the whole premise of the show. So I started watching it about 2 seasons in, because my little brain can only take so much, but they are clearly going to get divorced and both of their families are nightmares. The family in the DR is a nightmare. The family in that, there's like a part of Georgia where all reality show people live, and I don't know where it is, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's like not Atlanta, but it's some part of Georgia. They all live there. It's not
like Marietta something.
Yeah. It's just like generic Georgia.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're close enough to the Buckhead Mall, but they're not quite there yet. So anyway, so they are together, and then they've been, this nonstop family drama, and it's just been absolutely ridiculous. And now this season, it's quite evident that they have each asked each other for divorces. But the thing I was trying to tell you is that you can't just sit there and look at it based on this season alone that Pedro's a dick, because if you go back, they've been both problematic, but if you go back, you will see that Chantel has been a little pampered poodle from get-go, and she's not the sharpest.
I'm starting to realize that now, because
she's
remember, I was very team Chantel, right? And
yeah.
But
she's
then
cute.
She is cute, and that's how she's getting over on the PR war. I think because she's pretty, but I don't like the narrative that they've made him to be. First of all, they've been together for 7 years. And seeing both of their families, they never stood a chance.
No, they never stood a chance.
They never stood a chance.
But
neither of the families were giving them good, and neither of them were giving them good advice.
It's a very fucked up narrative. Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, her family makes fun of his accent.
I don't like any of that. Yeah,
her
it's really
family
rude.
There was an older brother who won't be on the show anymore. Dr. Crossley reminded me of this, who he had a Filipino girlfriend and they made fun of her. And anyway, so they're getting divorced, and I predict, here's a shocking prediction. There will be dating shows with the two of them.
Well, I think more her. I think he's smart. He's really selling houses. If you go and look at his IG page, he's really doing his real estate, and he's doing well. I think he's going to go off and do that and find a real girlfriend and wife, because you could tell that's what he wanted.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And to me, I did think it was weird. It's are you one of those girls who's always on vacation? Because it was always she's always on vacation.
No, well, that was the whole problem.
And it was I'm going to Panama. I'm you just came back from somewhere. You do seem to be on vacation.
I'm going to Panama. I'm sorry, Panama is known for Noriega and offshore banking. Sorry, Panama, but that's true. You go to Panama to do shady business dealings if you're an American,
Allegedly.
No, totally. He said it on the show. Why are you going to Panama?
Right.
And she can afford to just fly. I hate them all. Here's the thing about TLC. It's a successful show if at the end of it you go, I hate all of them. And then you watch it.
I went from being I would never watch that show called 1,000 Pound Sisters to being palpitating, waiting with bated breath for fucking the new season because we know Amy's had her second baby. You know,
That's
Tammy.
the other Amy, fat
and
Amy, not me.
Tammy had like issues like, did the surgery actually happen? Because they had to call it up. All of these things, they're questions, and I need to know what's going on.
It's brilliant
with the
television.
Pounds.
I just will tell you,
horrible TV that I cannot stop watching.
No, well, I mean, it's I will freely admit, and it's a horrible thing to say, I don't like the shows where there are people dealing with any sort of physical issue. I don't want to see your warts and your 7 toes and on one hand and surgery, and I don't want to see any of that shit. I just want to see fucked up relationships with fucked up idiots that Dr. Crossley and I can discuss as if we're discussing like Shakespeare or some, Noam Chomsky. I mean, we literally go, I can't believe we're having these discussions.
Right.
I've actually, like in therapy, my therapist has said when I used to go, she'd go, "What'd you do this weekend?" And she goes, "Oh, right, Sunday, 90 Day Fiancé." I went, "Yes, it's the only way I know what day of the week it is."
Horribleness.
It's horrible, but it's true. All right, what do you want to talk? Wait. You want to talk about? Do we want to talk about Stacey Dash is an idiot? There.
Yeah. Okay. So what's next after that?
All right.
Jennifer Lopez got married again, and then got mad because one of her high-class wedding guests leaked wedding videos. Like, may I ask this? Who are you inviting to your wedding that is recording you and selling it? Like, supposed to be your tightest circle of friends and family. That is such a weird concept to me. It's like, who goes to someone's private thing? Because clearly you are in an inner circle, you've been invited to someone's home, and your idea is to tape something and sell it to TMZ. Like, how does that even run across your mind? And I look at both of them and I'm like, that's what you get. Both are annoying. And the people you're around, this is just like, disgusting to me. I don't get that kind of shit. And I know you like her. You and Bevy.
I don't. It's not that I like her. I just don't have any visceral reaction to her either which way. I have nothing negative to say about her. I cannot be mad at someone who has sustained a career in an industry that is not kind to women of a certain age. And that's, I cannot be mad at that. I think he's like watching paint dry. But, if that's what she wants to be married to, you know what I mean? It's like,
right.
It's fine with me, but I have they're just like, it's like alternate side of the street parking. I don't care if it's suspended. I don't drive.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm like, they suspended it? Oh, what is it? Oh, it's suspended? Shoot, what will I do with my non-driving self?
You know what's not suspended? Ultranate's new album.
Oh, all right. Good. Well,
so good.
This is what the kids are saying.
So good. And I'm so happy. Listen, if you guys, I talk about dance. But this is a dance artist who this is her 10th album. It debuted really great all around the world. She had top 10 debuts. It was number 1 at certain points. It was going back and forth with Madonna and Drake. And, and I'm really, really happy for it. It's a great end of summer, early fall, grown-ass dance house album. That's so.
I think that Beyonce record has sort of had its moment, right? It's done.
No, it's still in the top 10.
And I don't hear anybody talking about it anymore.
Because now when we we went from summer into fall. So now we're going into the season of everybody really being back to work. It's still top 10. The single's still top 10. It's top 10 around the world. It actually jumped back up to like number 1 on a global chart. I think that there's no visual, right? And there's been no Beyonce. It's been like she put out a record and gave no visual and no Beyonce. So the record is still doing well. I think it's time for what's another single, or it's time for at least a visual something.
Yeah, people do have to look at you. If you sort of pioneered the whole idea of a visual album and then you decide just to not do that anymore, people are going to be like, oh.
And there are visuals, and the thing is, okay, I get you wanted people to listen, and people really did listen. The album came out July 28th. It's September 6th. So it's almost like okay, we could use a visual or at least a second single to bring, that heat back to
Well,
it.
she
And
needs
I
a
believe they
second
will.
single
Yeah.
because "Break My Soul" is a lead-off single. It's not a real. That's not a
But it's
single.
still, yes, it is. This is her biggest single in years. So
I
that's the
don't
one
get
thing I
that
will
why.
say.
I don't
It is her.
understand why.
It's still top 10. It was number 1 for 2 weeks. She has not had a number 1 since on the Hot 100 since Single Ladies.
How
So
can
yeah,
it be number one if
but it was
as
number
it
1.
was? Okay, I was gonna
As
say.
it was had an original long run, then it dropped down, and then it went back to number 1.
Okay.
As it was, it's been back now. As it was, is doing the bounce up and down, which is why it got the Song of the Summer title, because it. You see, they try to release 2 other Harry Styles songs, and it just
That song is just so.
I'm on the promo
good.
list still, so I've been seeing when they've been trying. They try to do. I forgot what one was. Trying to do sushi.
Probably
Restaurant.
Late Night Talking.
But
Late Night Talking.
I believe that's actually what it was. But as it was, it's just one of those songs that will not
that
go
song
away.
was that song. The second you heard it, you had it memorized.
Yeah,
and it's got an absolutely gorgeous video.
Yeah.
And the tour's been doing great, and the show's been getting good reviews. I mean, this movie that he has is getting terrible reviews,
Right.
but he will probably be able to survive that because he has such a dedicated fan
They're
base.
all good. And they don't read reviews. They're going
they're not going to go to that. Well, first off, they're not going to go to that movie.
They want to see. I think some of them will.
No, you know why they're not going to go to the movie? Because the little younger Styles fans hate Olivia Wilde.
Oh, they kind of.
Yeah. So they're going to be like, we're not going to go see that movie because she's horrible.
They're not feeling her.
Right. So.
Has there ever been a worse rollout for a movie? Like every other week is some other controversy with somebody in that movie.
I just sit there and go, really, this is making Showgirls look like, Citizen Kane in eye rolling.
Can we just take a moment and give flowers and propers to the iconically bad yet amazing Showgirls that you just mentioned?
Let me tell you something. That movie, I think that it was misjudged because I think
I saw it twice in the movies.
Oh, well,
I saw it twice in the movie, and I bought it on DVD because it was
it's a horrible movie, but it's not
good.
That horrible.
But it's good horrible. It has so many quotable lines.
No, it's amazing.
It is ridiculous in a way that you're like, did you really do this?
No, it's a horrible movie. It's a horrible movie. But it's sort of, you get the sense they knew it was horrible as they were making it and just said, fuck it, full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kyle MacLachlan, has he ever really recovered from
I mean, what was Versace and
Versace, yes.
Nomi Malone is goddess. I mean, that's
it's great.
The best shit on the planet.
Let me tell you something. All right, I'm saying it here first, kids. If you're a rapper and you're a woman and you don't call yourself Nomi Malone, you're an idiot.
Nomi fucking Malone, Miss Thing.
Nomi fucking Malone with her brother Post.
She's motherfucking iconic.
That's gotta be the new rap name. Nomi Malone.
Motherfucking Nomi Malone.
Not Glorilla. That's terrifying. I hate that name. That's the most what are you doing to yourself? Nomi Malone. We're starting it here. Right. We're starting it here. Rap girls. Nomi. Even a boy. A boy could be Nomi Malone. I want that to be. Put it out there. You have lots of contacts in the business, in the show biz. I'm just a humble teacher who doesn't know anything. All right.
You been listening to anything good?
Well, I had a concussion. Did I mention that?
Oh, yeah, you did.
And I couldn't listen to anything. In fact, I had a concussion, and I forgot that I had Harry Styles tickets.
And gagged when your friend called you, like, where are you? And you're like, I'm in
Fire Island. Why? I wouldn't have been able to go anyway because one of the things they tell you when you have a concussion is to not be in a closed arena with 19,000 screaming
I don't think closed
people.
arena with screaming people and music at 9,000 decibels.
I would have had a seizure. I would have had an absolute seizure. Yeah, basically, everything they tell you when you have a concussion is basically don't do everything that you do in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've just been sort of, so I've been going back and listening to Sky Ferreira, who I've always liked a lot. She was sort of that, one of those was supposed to be a big thing, really wasn't a big thing, but still made great music. Nighttime, My Time, which is from 2013. has the single 24 Hours, which I love. She worked a lot with Dev Hines, who's been
Love
opening
him,
up for
Blood
Harry
Orange.
Styles.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
love him.
And then this woman, I'm going to mispronounce her name because that's what I do, Rina Sawayama.
Oh, she's fierce. Her second album is coming out this week, I believe.
So I decided to listen to her first record.
She's dope.
And she's really good.
Yeah,
she's really good.
Really good.
British woman, really interesting. You know us. We like women art. We like artists who are kind of go off the path, but still are keeping it in a lane we understand. You know, not so avant-garde that you're like, I'm confused. So, I mean, again, good songs, good singing, good production, interesting. So I'm very much looking forward to her second record. And then, of course, just playing Roxy music constantly, trying to conjure up, you know, Brian Ferry in my mind. And then I read a book. I'm reading a book.
Nice.
Didn't nobody give a shit what happened to Carlotta by my friend and neighbor, James Hanahan. Funny, moving 48 hours in the life of a paroled trans woman who comes back to her Fort Greene neighborhood, and it's really good. Really good.
Nice.
So I recommend it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I've been listening, like I said, a lot to Alternate Hayes' latest album, Ultra. It's really, really good. Really good. I've still been listening to Renaissance. Listening to a lot of Leon Ware, digging into his catalog, Inside My Love, Musical Messiah. And of course, I've been listening to A Tu Jamais, the new single by Mylène Farmer, coming from her upcoming album, which is really, really good. I like the beat. I like it. One who has not dropped a video yet, it's like, hello, Mylène. Tap, 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 tap. And I've been listening to this group I don't know who, I've been trying to find more information about Nicaragua out of LA. The latest album is Beauty. And it's
the country.
It's really, really good. I really am enjoying this album.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
And Jimmy Cliff's latest, Refugee.
Yeah, no, I totally have to, because his last record a couple of years ago was really, really good.
And Avery Sunshine's 4 songs and a bootleg, you know, just really good. And Steps, the Platinum Collection. You know, I love Steps. All of the hits all together one. It's been a fun August of listening to music. I feel like we're coming into the season of some heavy hitter stuff. So I'm excited to see what's coming.
Well, things start getting a little more serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that, you know, we talked about Song of the Year and everything of the year. I mean, it's still Bad Bunny's. I mean, what an incredible freaking summer this man
Him and Harry.
Right? I mean,
and Beyonce, I will put her up there. She's having a good one too.
Okay, but I'm going to make this argument.
Because they're the newer ones. But the argument I make for her is being around for 25 years.
Yeah, but
and
she's
still getting that attention. That's hard to do.
Yeah, but I will just say this, for a Spanish-speaking artist to be this dominant now.
Listen.
This dominant. I think that, you know, those are the 3 contenders, obviously.
Oh no, listen.
Grammy.
What Harry and what Bad Bunny are doing is really, it's bringing us back to old school music. These are the new big artists when their records come. Like the way Michael Jackson and Madonna and Janet, those albums will always just stay at the top of the charts. They live there for long periods of time. And then we got used to not seeing that in the streaming age, right? But now we're starting to see who's breaking out to be the superstars in a streaming age. They keep an album, keep a song riding at the top of the charts. And Bad Bunny, what makes that great is what I love is he did not pander for an American audience.
Oh, not at all. Well,
I'm going to make an American style record so I can break through there.
He's not singing in English.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an American who refuses to play to middle America. You know what I mean? He is keeping it, and I admire him for that, because most Spanish-speaking artists, when they want to make their crossover, a la Shakira, a la Mark Anthony, and this is not a diss, they go into English. You know, well, Mark Anthony obviously is a native English speaker because he was born in New York.
And he did that kind of backwards, because remember, his first album is English mostly. And then he went to the salsa area, became big. Then he decided, okay, I'm going to come. And he was so huge that him singing in English was not a foreign thing as his career started. It was almost like his return to, let me make a big English pop album.
Well,
and he did. I worked that record. I was at Columbia for that record.
No, Mark Anthony's an American. I mean, so it's that he's speaking English.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. But I think this thing with Bad Bunny is fascinating on so many levels. A, it's a great record. B, it's just proving again that music is universal, because not everybody buying this record is a Spanish speaker,
right?
And it's just a great record. And if the VMAs had been smart, they just would have fucking had his show at Yankee Stadium and be done with it. Let
me just tell you something. Yankee Stadium, can't see it from my house, but I've walked to, when we left the Madonna concert at Yankee Stadium, we walked across the bridge and walked home, right? But I can see the lights when it's certain concerts. The 2 nights of Bad Bunny, looking outside my window at certain points, I was like, he is clearly turning it over there. Because I am seeing a light show all the way over here that lets me know that whatever is happening inside that fucking baseball park must be a full gag to everybody in there. Because it looked exciting from here. It was
amazing. It looked, just the clips I saw on TV looked exciting. All right. Speaking of exciting, can you take us out, please?
I would like to say, guys, you know that the Pantheon Podcast Network now has a YouTube channel that you should be subscribing to.
Whoop.
And do you know our shows? Now, they're week staggered, right? So, 108 has probably been living there now for a while because we've been off the air. So we might get caught up, but usually it's a week behind. But all of our shows are now going to be on the Pantheon Podcast Network's YouTube page. So you need to go there, subscribe to Pantheon Podcast Networks, and you can listen to a bunch of the shows. I mean, there's so many ways. I like Danny's What's Happening in the Strip Clubs. What's happening in the strip clubs. I like the Story of a Song podcast, where they bring just so much good stuff. Doug Herzog's podcast about the early days of cable TV. There's so many good things there, guys. And Pantheon is now the #1 music network in the world. So we're very happy to be there. Check us out there. Check out the other shows there. You can also keep up with us on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, on Twitter at FinishImma, on TikTok at ImmaLetYouFinish Podcast, on, did I say Facebook? At ImmaLetYouFinish all one word. Again, you know what I mean? So remember, post us, share us, like us, tell a friend, leave a review, and come back next week because we missed you. And we're back. Vacation was great, but we're glad to be back with you.
And I promise I won't have a concussion.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.